Okay, trying to keep the videos under 10 minutes because they take a while to upload and I need to get home to pack. So we're gonna move on to the next page. Finally on page 3. Page 2 took quite a bit of time. I wish we had had more time to do this review. Let's see. So as far as the eyes, we can't simplify them as far as they need to go. But I want you to at least try what you know. We know the exponent rules. We know when we're multiplying two letters that we add the exponent. So this would be I squared. I'm already messing it up. I don't need that times there. So I squared, did it again, I'll just cross it out. I to the 2 plus 5 is what I'm trying to write because we add the exponents, and that equals I to the 7th power. Now there's a way to simplify it further. We haven't got to it yet, so I would be happy with this answer. Even if you see it on your test, if you just show me the work and what you got to, I'll give you credit for it. So I think this is the one problem where I'm not going to be able to get to everything. For this one, since there's a 2 here implied and a 2 here, they are like terms because I have 2 square roots. So I can go square root of -6 times -15. That equals square root of 90. And if I factor out 90, I get 3 times 3 times 10. There's a pair, so I get 3 square root of 10. And for the last one, again, when you have an exponent on the outside, you distribute it through everything, so that's -5 to cubed, I cubed. And I would accept it like this, or -75 I cubed. Either way, I'm okay with. Now, the quadratic formula, everyone by now should at least be able to figure out what your A is, what your B is, what your C is. So for this one, A equals 7, B equals 9, C equals 2. Somewhere on your test will be the quadratic formula. Right now you should have your graphic organizers. And if I were to plug all the numbers in, I'd get -9 plus or minus square root of 9 squared minus 4 times 7 times 2. And you can always pause the video anytime you need to. I'm just pushing through because of time. Over 2 times 7. I'm going to go ahead and work on the discriminant, this part right here. So I'm going to have -9 plus or minus square root of 81 minus 34 over 14. Now I'm going to go ahead and figure out 81 minus 34. This is going to end up equaling -9 plus or minus square root of 47 over 14. And that would be my final answer because 47 can't be reduced. Now if you're given a problem like 28, this is the same thing as having 2x squared plus 0x minus 15. Remember, even when we were factoring trinomials, we'd sometimes, like if you had x squared minus 4, that could be factored if you put in a 0x in the middle, so you'd have x plus 2x minus 2. Well, in this case, a would equal 2, b would equal 0, c would equal -15. And you can still do the quadratic formula even when one of them equals 0. One of the letters, I mean. So this would give me 0 plus or minus square root of 0 squared minus 4 times 2 times -15, all over 2 times 2. That would give me plus or minus square root of 120 over 4. And if I simplified 120, I have 120, that would be 12 times 10. 12 is 2 times 2 times 3. There's a pair. And looking at the rest of these, I'm sorry, you probably can't see them. Looking at the rest of them, 10's not going to give me anything that I could factor further. So this would equal plus or minus 2 square root of 30 over 4. Now I think I'm done, but 2 and 4 can be simplified. I can divide the numerator and the denominator, and that would give me, this would turn into a 1, this would turn into a 2. If I divided 2 by 2 is 1, 4 by 2 is 2. This gives me plus or minus square root of 30 over 2. And that would be my final answer. But if you can get to here, you can get a lot of points, okay? Don't give up. Just do the best you can. For these next 4, I'm not going to spend a whole lot of time on them. I'm just going to write down the answers because you should know how to factor by now. Here, greatest common factor. I could pull out an x. That would be x times x plus 8 equals 0. Remember, we're solving, so we need to figure out what x equals. We're solving. So x equals 0. I'm setting this x equal to 0. Nothing else needs done. This x plus 8, I'm setting it equal to 0. I solve for x, that would give me x equals negative 8. So here are my 2 answers. If I were to I am going to. This next one would be x minus 6, x plus 3 equals 0. So x would equal 6 and negative 3. This next one, I have x plus 16 and x plus 1 equals 0. So I'd have x equals negative 16 and negative 1. And this last one, it's kind of hard. I don't think you're going to have anything this hard on the test, I hope. But remember, 121 is 11 times 11. 81 is 9 times 9. And because of this minus sign right here, it's a difference of squares. So I can go 11x plus 9 and 11x minus 9. And I need to solve it. Again, set it equal to 0. And you should get 9 over 11. X equals plus or minus 9 over 11. Okay, just solve, do these on your own, solve for x. The next ones, I'm going to go by the information it gives me. When you're given factored form, and I'm going to underline this. I meant to have my highlighters over here. Factored form, we can get dilation, and we can get the x-intercepts. So I can easily get 3, 0, and negative 5, 0. Dilation would be 1, because that is your a value, and it's all being multiplied by 1. For your y-intercept, you have to multiply this out. And if I multiplied it out, I would get x squared plus 2x minus 15. Remember, y-intercept is when x equals 0. So this would become 0 squared plus 2 times 0 minus 15. These all cancel out, and I get negative 15. The only way to find the vertex is to complete the square, which I will be doing on the other side. I will show the work quickly for what I would do if I was completing the square. Remember, the new c is b over 2 squared. So I would have x squared plus 2x plus something minus 15 minus something. Let me just kind of, so we don't get mixed in with the x-intercepts. I wrote a little bit too big, or maybe not big enough for what you're watching. So 2 divided by 2 is 1. 1 squared is 1, so plus 1 minus 1. This turns into x plus 1 squared minus 16. So my vertex is negative 1, negative 16. And again, I am going to go check the time. Yeah, we're at 9.5 minutes, so hopefully the next video I can finish up.